Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Chatting with Chip with Barton College football head coach Chip Hester. I am Wilson Times sports editor Paul Durham, and coach, you do have a smile on your face today. Big win for the Bulldogs Friday night at NCAA FCS Davidson. However you slice it, that's a big win for your program. I think we had talked about it last week. That was probably the one that you could most afford to lose. Nobody's going to hold it against you for a D2 team losing to an FCS team that has been to the playoffs each of the last 3 seasons and led the FCS in rushing yardage per game each of the last 3 seasons. But wow, what a big win for the Bulldogs, 33-31. You've had the chance to think about it for a few days. What are your thoughts, Coach?
Yeah, it was a good win for the program, and I was extremely proud of our guys, not only for the win, but how it unfolded. I mean, we go down 14-0, and then we're down 21-7 at one time, and our guys kept fighting, and they didn't lose confidence. We have a saying, and I stole it from Coach Broadway that was at A&T and all over the place, and I always say, if something good happens and the team responds, keep playing. If something bad happens, keep playing. And I thought that was a real kind of example of that. I thought our guys fought hard. They're a good football team. I know their record this year now is 0-2, but I'm telling you, that's a good football team. They're strong. Their coaches know what they're doing. And so it was a big win for our guys. And now the challenge for us is not anything that has to do with the past. It's how are we going to deal with it going forward. And so that's where if something good happens, keep playing. So we can't worry about that one at this point. And we've got to move forward. But it was a really good win for our guys. Hopefully it builds confidence, but it does not build arrogance, because as we studied that film, there's a lot that we can improve on.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously you're going to be thinking mostly about UVA Wise, your opponent this Saturday this week, but at least for now, we'll reminisce a little bit more about Friday night's game. But I thought what really made a point to me, and you and I talked about this Saturday, was, being able to, it's not enough to be good enough to win and play good enough to win. Sometimes you're playing so great and the other team's right behind you because of breaks or whatever, or other times you might be playing great and be behind. Knowing how to win games that you can win. And that was, I'm not saying you stole the game, you outplayed them, but there were plenty of chances for it to go the other way.
Oh,
I mean, that last interception, lots of things, Jordan getting that last first down. You guys rose to the challenge at the right time. It's a sign of a veteran team that's learned a few things.
I completely agree. I think even last year we don't win that football game. And for sure the year before we don't win that football game. But we've got guys who have, as they say in football circles, their knuckles have been in the fire. They've been in pressure situations. They've experienced that, how it feels and what's going on. And I thought that we played pretty good situational football. I think the thing that I might like the most about it is, in the first half, defensively they're good. Offensively they're really good. So our defense, it took a little while to get their run game under control, and I thought the offense really responded and made big plays and scored a bunch in the first half. And then in the second half, their defense kind of tightened down on us, and we were struggling a little offensively, and that's when our defense kind of rose up. And so I think that's the thing that I look at as a head coach, and I go, man, that can be really beneficial to us going forward as a team. Because I think it was a great team win when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and let's talk about that offense, those big plays. Coach, you have hinted, even warned, that you guys were going to throw the ball, that you could throw the ball, that you needed to throw the ball. And you've been saying that for 3-4 years. You do need to throw the ball. And to be able to throw it with accuracy at all levels, downfield, down the middle, short passes, everything. And it really just sort of opened up for your offense, I think, because they were focusing on Jordan Terrell. They weren't going to let him beat him. He still got 140 yards, scored 2 touchdowns, had some big runs. But your quarterback, Jaquan Lynch, I think that was maybe not his most passing yards, but I think it was his best day. Didn't throw an interception. He ran right when he needed to and just did everything right. But the passing game was on point.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think over the years you and I have talked about what defenses do to stop the run, and we call it bear front. So they cover up all your offensive linemen, they put an extra guy in the box, and so you can only do so much, and so you've got to be able to pass the football. And I was really proud of our guys because we made some big plays, and again against some good football players, and I think the thing that our guys on offense and in the wide receiver meeting room understand is we left some plays out there as well. We didn't we didn't catch all the ones that we wanted to catch, and so we left some plays out on that field, and I think hopefully that'll encourage our guys to redouble their efforts. But I think we saw a real step forward as a football team because we were finally able to see that work that's been put in, and the things that we've been seeing in practice finally came over into a game, and I think that's a key to that win. If we're not able to throw the ball effectively and hurt them when they go with their tight fronts and their high pressure packages, then I don't think we win the ball game. And so that's what's gratifying to me as a coach, to see a team mature and develop. And when the defense needed the offense stepped up. When the offense needed the defense, they stepped up. When we needed guys in the passing game to step up, they stepped up. And I think we did enough to win in the special teams. But I just thought it was an all around wonderful game for us. I think it was it was good to see those guys enjoy a win there. And now the challenge: get back to planet Earth and get ready, because the SAC conference starts this week.
Yeah, the SAC comes a calling. Well, and I thought that win was just gritty Friday night because you guys did a whole bunch of things wrong. I mean, there were penalties, there were drop passes, there were missed tackles, there were missed extra points, a whole bunch of stuff. But you guys did a whole bunch right too. And then that's the thing. That's the life, isn't it? You can play well and lose. You're not going to feel as good as you do when you don't play all as great, but you still get the win. Absolutely. And you get it in a big fashion. Now let's switch gears and talk about Saturday.
Right.
First Saturday home game of the year. You guys have been waiting for this one. You had the Thursday night opener against Chelan. But now you got UVA Wise, a team that you guys beat pretty handily last year, and now they're coming in off a big loss. But my recollection of UVA Wise, that ball's going to be in the air on Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah, they're one of those dangerous football teams. They're the first week they looked great, really dominated the team. Last week they lost, and so I've told our team we need to prepare for them like they're, again, a nameless, faceless opponent, just like we were thinking going into last week, and really concentrating on us, because UVA Wise has got talent. They've had real talent the last couple of years. I think they turned the ball over this past Saturday on special teams and did some different things that put them in a hole, and so I think we're going to get their best shot. And again, their back's against the wall. They've got to come out fighting, and I think our guys have got to rise to the occasion and make sure that we're ready to play. And I think we will. I think we've got real maturity on our football team. We've got some great leadership, and so this week of practice is hugely important. And I think what I've seen at the beginning of the week, I like the direction that we're going in, and I think it's going to be a challenge. Defensively, again, they're very multiple. Last year held Jordan Terrell to under 50 yards, which is about as good as anyone's done against him. So they provided challenges for us last year, and we had kick return for a touchdown last year, and so we had some things go right. But this is going to be a challenge, and I think it's going to be a great football game.
Yeah, that was a game that Jaquan Lynch threw for over 300 yards. That was his career high, I believe.
Either that one or Mars Hill. But,
yeah, you might be right.
But either way, he had some really big plays. He had a couple
You had to
of
throw
runs.
the ball.
He had to pull the ball a little bit, and we had to kind of take a different step as well. So, but we found a way to win, and that's the goal every week. Find a way to win in the end.
That was your first. No, it wasn't your first. That was because you didn't play him 2 years ago, did you?
I'm trying to think. I think we did, because we went back to back. We went
okay. So that was your first South Atlantic win. I think
it was.
UVA Wise.
I think it was
down here the first 2 years ago. Well, and as I recall, they throw the ball a lot on offense.
Absolutely.
And they sort of force you to do the same on defense.
Right.
let's talk a little bit more. We keep coming back to this, but every week there's some new faces, some new guys doing things. I mean, it's not just 3 or 4 guys doing a lot of the stuff. You really have, your players of the week this week, yes, true freshman, kid who played quarterback for Northern Nash High, took him all the way to the state 3A championship game. Keno Jones, 7 unassisted tackles, 12 total tackles. Special teamer, made some huge hits on special teams, made some big hits on defense. Got Derek Behringer, a kid who we talked about is coming on. Just a lot of guys, a lot of numbers that maybe in the past have not seen as much action. Even this week, I think you got even more of that depth going than you did in the opener against Shawan.
I think it's hugely important. We've talked about how critical it is because if you play every snap, especially on defense, when you're running to the ball the way our defense runs to the ball, you're going to get tired, and so we need to have fresh folks that can go in. You mentioned Keno Jones. I thought. The opening kickoff, he makes a huge solo tackle on that. I think he made 2 solo tackles on kickoff, and that's just tone setting. And so he's really stepped up. It's not that other guys, our regular names, they continue to play at a high level, but if we can get those other guys to step up in that way, we've got a chance to be a successful football team. And so I'm proud of those guys. I think Derek Behringer is a physical guy. He runs well. He's got a nose for the football. He is extremely physical. So with those guys coming on board and really elevating their play, that gives us a chance to be successful. And so I'm excited. I thought Alex Gaudo played well again. The defensive front. It was a fight. It was a tough physical ball game, and I think our guys rose to that challenge, and those young guys really stepped up in a big way.
Yeah, I think you're going to have a lot more regular names, not just the few that you had. You're getting to be more regular names. And, the key, too, is it's easy to empty your bench when you're beating Chowan by, 40-some points, but to do it in a game where you were behind, you had to come back. You just see a lot of kids out there, and I think they're all making a difference for you guys this year as you go into it. Well, Coach, looking around the SAC, you and I talk about it here and there, but have you learned anything? I don't know how much film you've had a chance to watch other than the UVA Wise, but, we talk about this every year. There's always some games like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Newberry lost the other day. Defending champion team picked to win it to North Greenville. Any thoughts on what you've seen so far around the conference?
Well, I think it's just another crazy year in the South Atlantic Conference. That Newberry lost to a really good North Greenville team that's playing in the Gulf South. So, I'm not super surprised. There's some new starting quarterbacks in the league and some different spots, and I think by the time we play them, they'll be up to speed and playing at a really high level. But sometimes when there's some change, even if they're really good players, that leads to some inconsistencies, and so I think it's going to be another wild year in the South Atlantic Conference. I really do. I think that there are a bunch of teams that have a real shot at winning this thing, and so our job is just to find ourselves in the mix and not get too far ahead of ourselves. I know it's coach speak all the way, but we really can't get outside of our what's right in front of us, and I think that's the thing that our guys, hopefully with the strong leadership that we have, they'll keep that in mind. But it's if you're a college football fan, and I know a lot of people don't know about the South Atlantic Conference, but I don't know that there's better football just as far as competitive games every week and exciting games. You got defensive games and offensive shootouts, and it's just got a little bit of everything. Yeah. It's a great league. It's a fun league to be a part of.
Yeah, with a whole bunch of tradition too. And having now looked at it observed it for, I guess this is the 4th season. It strikes me that any season there's anywhere from 2 to maybe 5 teams that are national ranked quality type teams each year. But it's not always the teams you think it's going to be at the beginning. There's like a mix. Like, okay, well, there's going to be some good teams, but maybe not this year. It won't be, Wingate or Newberry or Lenoir Ryan. Somebody's stepping up. Mars Hill. There's just so many good teams with, different traditions. Carson Newman. How long are they going to stay down? Catawba had a big win, you know. So it's going to be a fun, interesting thing. Last thing, you guys dodged a bullet. No national ranking for you guys yet. No, and regional rankings aren't out yet. But I got to say, you keep winning, you're going to get ranked.
Well, you know, I think that's, you know, obviously if you're not ranked, you can use it as motivation,
right.
And so, you know, to try to get in there. But
you're happy not being ranked, right?
Completely. You know, look,
you guys didn't even get votes, so that's good too.
I've said this many times across the years, and the only ranking that really matters is the one at the very end, after all the games are played. So, you know, I think, again, for us, if we'll just focus on what's right in front of us, and that's playing UVA Wise, and you know, and playing to the best of our ability, and again, I talk with our guys all the time. Every single day, I say, hey, it's a great day to get better. So let's concentrate on getting better. You know, there's an old saying in coaching that you're either getting better or getting worse. You're not staying the same. And so we've got to have that urgency to try to get better and strive to be the best version of ourselves.
Well, you know, practices, you got already one under your belt this week, but it seems like you guys are right there with the, you know, the mentality that you need to be, and that comes with being a veteran team and just knowing what to expect. I feel like that. Like you said, you wouldn't have done this 2 years ago. Right. You didn't. I mean, you had a good team 2 years ago. You got a lot of the same players, and they were good players. 6-5 was as good as they were going to give, and that was a great year. But there were still lots of improvement. And then last year, you know, there were struggles with injuries and everything else. But I think everything has kind of come together for this team for this year. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But I guess next week we'll be back for another edition. We'll talk about UVA Wise, the game that you're going to play here at Truist Stadium on Saturday, and then we'll look ahead to your little trip up to Mars Hill the following week. So come back and visit us then. Thank you.